aspects. And so one of the way that I framed it too is the idea of hiding the nakedness of your father. And so in the world of all identities no identity is perfect. All identities are broken because they're not, let's say they're not God, right? And so all identities have a brokenness to them. And so in order for them to hold together, one of the things you have to do is you have to hide their nakedness. And I take that from the story in the Bible where Noah, the new father, right? So there's a flood, everything's destroyed. Now there's Noah. He's going to be the father of everybody else, right? The whole world is going to be related to Noah. And then he gets drunk and he passes out naked in his tent. And one of his sons sees him naked and makes fun of him because he's naked. And then he's cursed because of that. Now his other sons go in and they hide his nakedness. They cover his nakedness, okay? So you have to understand it as, in order to preserve an identity, you have to a certain extent, hide the nakedness of your father. The problem is always knowing when is it too much? Like, when are you hiding too much? But everybody does it, right? Imagine you have a basketball team and your star player has some negative aspects to them. Well, you don't want to be publicly telling everybody about the bad habits of your star basketball player because you don't want your basketball team to be dismantled and you don't want to lose. And it's the same for any team, any church, any school, any group. And so we need to hide the nakedness of our father. But at some point you have to stop if it's too much, right? Because we saw too much of it, like all the priests abusing children and then people covering up for them, all the coaches abusing children, all that kind of stuff is when you do it too much. Now, the problem is that if you hide the nakedness of your father, it's still there. The scandal is hidden, but it's still there. And at some point, in the end, it's going to appear. It's going to show itself. The system is going to play itself out. The weakness of the system that you hid at the beginning is going to be its downfall at the end. And it's going to be what your enemies use to destroy it. And it's just inevitable. It's just going to happen that way. And so America has sins in its origin. It has hidden sins. And the hidden sin is that which they declared, which is equality, fraternity, freedom. In their founding, they hid a sin, which is that it wasn't true for everything. That they, in saying that, they also hid their own sins. And now they're coming out, and they have been coming out, but it's hard to avoid that happening at some point. Now, I don't know when it's supposed to happen, but it's hard for that to not happen. And we have to be careful not to point fingers, because what I'm telling you is true of every system, and it's true of every family, and it's true of any organization has hidden sins. It's just part of a system.
Okay,